Hi, it's me, your boyfriend slash girlfriend slash day friend's favorite content creator. And you're going to watch a video that broke me. You're going to watch a video that while I was doing it, I broke down. This is probably one of the most confusing reacts I have ever done. Like I tried so hard to follow along this person's logic, and you know what? I'll just let you watch it. Right? Okay. I'm gonna go take a nap or whatever. All right, let's do this.
Over recent years, changes made across new video games or remasters and remakes of previous titles based off of sensitivity issues has had me wondering what is even the point for game rating structures like the ESRB or PEGI. When a game is rated M for mature or PEGI 18, it's obviously supposed to contain content inside that is intended for mature audiences, and its distribution towards kids or teenagers is not recommended or in some cases even allowed. I'm not really sure if this is enforced by the law in some places. I personally never had an issue with buying video games that had a PEGI 18 label on them. Stores never made me show my ID like they did for alcohol, so I can't really speak as to that extreme. I know that digital stores like Steam, for example, you can just lie and set up any date of birth that you want to and access whatever games you want, but the intent of the system is still there. Mature content for mature audiences. You buy it at your discretion, and honestly, these labels even go as far as to have their own little tags.
Hey, what are we getting at?
Violence tag, an obscene language tag, drug use tag, etc. There's a lot of them, so in a way, this kind of already acted as its own little trigger warning for people to buy these games, again, at their own discretion.
Okay, I think I see what's happening here. I mean, yes, obviously those are for mature audiences, right? 17 plus. But I will say, someone just says blood, drug reference, intense violence, nudity, sexual themes, strong language. Those are not like super specific, right? Let's say, for example, I had a scene in which you have to torture a 5-year-old kid. That is violence, intense violence, blood, possibly strong language, but it doesn't really come across by that, right? Because those are very generic things. But obviously the video is more than just, I hope to God, more than just ESRB. I've done a whole video talking about the ESRB and all that stuff.
So it's not even just an age or maturity barrier that is already in place, there's also one that flags any potential quote-unquote triggering content for people to play with the things that interest them and avoid the things that they happen to have a serious problem.
But also, again, like if I say this has strong language, we have to define what strong language is. Right? If I say they say fuck a lot, I'm like, well, that's not very strong. But what if someone says they say shit? Oh, that's strong. Or like other swear words. You know what I mean? Like, again, like this gives you a general idea, but that's why you have like game trailers and whatnot and reviews to help you know if you want to buy this game or not.
Problem with seeing depicted, or
like the whole thing with the ESRB, the rating system, is just to give you a general idea. That's really it.
You may be, and yet we're still going through a hypersensitive time where these labels and these tags don't really mean anything anymore, because the content in the games is still subject to getting changed or removed or sanitized because of containing mature content that is intended for mature audiences in a game that's already been rated as mature.
Okay, but also I feel like, and again, I could be wrong here, I haven't watched this video clearly, that we are really settling on one specific definition of mature when that's not the case, right? Mature can mean so many different things.
All because some people like to make it their
in games. Don't take us to the weird way.
Business to ruin other people's entertainment with ridiculous arguments that imply that the content in the game is harmful or irresponsible in some way or another, and that it should be barred from society entirely. They
okay, I thought you're being hyperbolic.
Their own content to their own tastes and triggers, and into the territory of dictating whether or not the content should even be sold if it includes things that they don't like. It's like going out and seeing a poster saying,
is this about like collective shout?
Is coming to town.
Hey, time for a few fart jokes.
You know that he's an edgy comedian, his reputation precedes him, it's all over the poster itself. But you buy a ticket anyway just to go to the venue and get offended in person, so you can start a hashtag moving about it on social media the next day.
Buddy, your video's been going on for 2 minutes. Get to the point.
At something that you fully bought into, knowing what it was.
Some people are really f***ing stupid.
And sadly, companies and society in general really has just gotten to a point where we're so incredibly spineless that we cater to this hypersensitive garbage when, for years, everything was pretty clear. We had the rating system for the ages, we had the tags for some specifics, and we even had some that warned of in-game purchases.
Okay, I know I'm pausing a lot, but this is a 32-minute video. The first 3 minutes pretty much go over what the entire video is about, right? Like, this guy's upset that mature games are no longer mature because there's going to be edits made to remakes or remasters, and that's dumb because we have the ESRB, so it should be a free-for-all. Like, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. If that's the case, we don't need... This is still the intro? Oh my god. Oh my god.
For example, which feels like the only useful type of label anymore. And if you looked at a product and you liked what the product advertised itself as, and you checked the labels, you've
already made this point.
Crosses your boundaries.
No, I'm skipping this. I'm skipping this. Like, what are you doing?
Random dumbass rose up like, I think this is bad. And we just ignored the crazy person.
Oh my, bro, I'm just getting to the cases. What the fuck? Like, literally, look at this. It's almost 6 minutes of him just repeating his talking point. I understand. I get it. You want games to be left alone. You want them to, if they're rated M for mature, to have whatever they want to have because it's already past the rating system. Okay. Get to the fucking point though. Like, goddamn.
These days, it feels like we can't go a couple of months without hearing about yet another case of some kind of older content being altered in some way for a remaster or a remake or a...
Okay, so you're repeating your intro part here. Why not just start the video from here? Like, why do the other 6 minutes or 5 minutes and some change? You could just start it here.
Re-release or some kind of new game coming out where you can notice a pattern of choices that undermine or outright remove content that would make sense to be there. As a quick rough example, in Dragon Age Veilguard, the dark aspects of the franchise were totally removed to make for a much safer, Disneyfied world building and presentation. And speaking of Disney,
I mean, sure, that's
like Star
okay.
Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor should have had a total field day with dismemberment, but instead...
Wait, what? Wait, now he's doing the thing that I always talk about when they start hallucinating shit and getting mad at shit that's not in the game.
Instead, human bodies such as bandits or stormtroopers can only have occasional and limited dismemberment, specifically of their arms. Meanwhile, creatures and robots can be totally split in half, either vertically or horizontally. The popularity of mods that reskin Cal Kestis into Darth Maul and allow players to absolutely destroy scores of enemies shows not only a desire for darker themes in these games like a Grey Jedi or maybe even a full-blown Sith story, but also for lightsabers to go back to being actual lightsabers.
But do you see what I mean? Like, he's using mods as a reference point to saying, well, yeah, they wanted people to be able to destroy scores of, then go play the other fucking game. Grey Jedis. That's not even like a real thing. Whatever. But that's the point, right? It's, they always bring up shit that it's not, oh, I wish they was like play like this game. But it doesn't. Because it's not that game. Like, they made the design choice. They don't want you hacking the shit out of people, but you can go ham on robots and like creatures and shit. Like, I don't see how that's is Jedi Fallen Order even rated M for mature? Hold on, let me check. No, they're rated. This is the rated T for teen game. Both Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order rated T for teen. Why even mention this in this game? They're teen games. They're not gonna let you fucking dismember people because they're teen games.
Rather than the mildly inconvenient light sticks that Disney turned them into. But it's like we can't have neither of these things anymore. Fun is strictly forbidden in modern AAA video games unless it's safe and endorsable. But
my God, bro, your definition of fun is not a universal definition of fun. People bought the game and played it and enjoyed it. Like, we're 7 minutes in.
But anyway, these are just a couple of examples of cases where there's no changes from previous iterations of the same game, but where
what's the
there's
fucking
precedent
point
from previous games in the same genre or franchise for there to be specific elements that are just not present.
Wait, I'm sorry, did he say from the genre?
Or franchise for there to, but where there is precedent from previous games in the same genre or franchise for
Previous game in the same franchise? Sure. Even though, then again, the Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor are both teen games, so they haven't changed throughout their franchises. But to say genre, that's so stupid. Just because they're in the same genre doesn't mean they have the same rating or tone, right? It's Jedi Survivor is, you could say it's an action game. So is fucking Devil May Cry. It's a Souls-like game, so it's like, you know, like Dark Souls. But to compare them is insane. Also, you can't even dismember in Dark Souls either. So
for there to be specific elements that are just not present. And of course, in the cases
different
of actual
game.
changes from previous content, previous games, or previous iterations of the same game, we have all manner of examples to draw from these days. If you've been keeping up with it,
okay, give me examples.
Recently in the games industry, there's a game buzzing around right now because of this. The game is called Ready or Not, and it's a first-person tactical shooter where you play as a SWAT guy and you come across all manner of very heavy and dark subjects and imagery. This was actually a main appeal for this game, presenting the dark and gritty nature of the brutal reality that certain agents in law enforcement go through. The shock value is a pillar of the game. Without it, it's just another shooter. Sure, it's still very well realized. There's still a lot of fun to be had with the challenging nature of being able to clear a level as fast as possible or as efficiently as possible.
You're kind of selling the game.
It's DNA. If you take it out, there's nothing that stands out about it that some other company can just recreate it and make it even better with a little bit more money. Yet, regardless, after the game being on Steam for
I gotta say, I know I say this a lot, but I fucking hate videos where the B-roll footage is just a random game unrelated to the topic being made. Like, put in some effort, please.
so many years in its original unapologetic state, it has now been changed across all platforms, removing or sanitizing several evocative elements in very damaging ways that compromise that original tone. At least from some missions, and then of course if they did it for these missions, there's
Twisted Nerve. The girl who was shown convulsing before is now sleeping instead. Elite Obsession. The nudity of the ghillie suit suspect has been adjusted. Hide and seek. All female hostages now wear undergarments. Narcos. The police informant hostage now wears underwear. Is it important for the informant hostage to be naked? The photo of Myron's objective. I advise to better connect with the storyline later. That's bad. Post-mortem dismemberment, the future has been disabled. Okay, look, I haven't played Ready or Not, so I really can't speak to the veracity of like how important each one of these things are, right, to the game in terms of keeping it the same. But it's okay if you liked it the original way, I guess. Hopefully there's better examples than this, because this one literally says they changed one thing to make it better for the storyline, which I think would be more important.
There's always the hesitation that this is who the studio is now and any future content is compromised as well. I made an individual video on this if you guys are interested in the details. The link will be in the description and top comment of this video. Also, some people were complaining in the comments that I referred to a scene in the game where there's a child having a seizure as to it being a girl having a seizure. I got that detail wrong. I'm sorry about that. However, number one,
crazy to
I was
care
only
about that.
reading what the website was reporting. It's literally on screen as I'm saying it, and then people didn't.
It's not on screen. Oh, guess me in that video.
I drew a comparison to an adult woman having a seizure in Cyberpunk as an example that other games have been allowed to depict this kind of thing on consoles before. But number two, in this particular.
Okay, I wouldn't be me if I didn't look this up. Let's look up the Ready or Not shit. And after screenshots as it battles against censorship backlash and Steam review bomb campaigns. Void Interactive has responded to the player backlash after it made changes to the PC version of the controversial shooter in order to secure a console release, citing misconceptions and misinformation about the amendments. On July 2nd, we reported that Void said it had to adjust levels of gore, nudity, violence, and mistreatment of children ahead of its July 15th console release. And rather than maintaining multiple versions with different assets and mechanics that would increase the likelihood of bugs, some aspects of the PC version had also been revived. At the time, Void insisted the changes were small enough that most players wouldn't notice if we didn't say anything, but wanted to be transparent with its players. The news has caused Ready or Not Steam user ratings to hit, mostly negative, which of course, for recent reviews, although the overall review rating remains positive, very positive. Most of the negative complaints are about censorship. Now, in a new statement, Void set out to full visibility into what has and has not changed, including before and after screenshots. It insists that the effects of gore and violence have not been toned down. We recently shared that Ready or Not's PC version underwent minor content changes to support stability in line with policies enforced by global platforms and age rating bodies, the statement began. These adjustments were made to ensure a smooth global launch across platforms while fully preserving the game's tone, themes, and intensity. Unfortunately, we've seen misconceptions and misinformation circulating around the scope of these changes. We want to ensure our entire community has full visibility into what has and has not changed. We're including before and after visuals to show that the game's tone, atmosphere, and graphical impact remain intact. The effects of gore and violence, key to the game's immersive realism, have not been toned down. So for them, the key to the game is gore and violence, not specifically like people twitching and being naked. Void stressed that missions such as Elephant, Neon Team, and the infamous Valley of the Dolls remain unchanged, adding it has always believed in creative freedom and has the right to build experiences that push boundaries in the service of immersion and realism. That will not change. At the same time, we operate in a global ecosystem of platform standards, age rating boards, and local legal restrictions, the studio added. While we may disagree with how some content is treated, we've only made changes where absolutely required, and only to the letter of the regulations, no further. As a hyper-realistic tactical FPS, Ready or Not faces different scrutiny than most stylized or fictionalized game. That's the reality of the world we publish in, not a change in our creative vision or values. I don't know if I can show this shit, so I'll just skip through here. It's not about specifics, it's about matter of principle, wrote one respondent in the comments. Any amount of censorship is too much. Another said, great, so you're saying you're hearing us but refusing to listen. Yeah, damaging the vision of the game just because of console port. Added someone else, get a grip and at least put a slider in the settings. What is this? Oh, gamers. Never satisfied. But okay, so I guess that's Ready or Not.
Scenario, it doesn't really matter whether it's a woman or a child. This is a video game. It's fiction, and in this particular case, the fiction is meant to be dark, brutal, and shocking. It's meant to have a heavy impact on players, just as similar situations have on SWAT teams in real life. Except, of course, it's meant to have that impact from the safety confines of fiction. That's the beauty of fiction, in fact. To see and experience things that range from the most whimsically unrealistic fantasies to the darkest, most off-putting nightmares, all from the safety of our couches or gaming chairs.
Listen, I'm not going to really disagree on that point. I do also believe that I believe games are art, and art sometimes exists to make you uncomfortable. Do I have to like it? No. And I've stated there's games I won't play, right? But at the end of the day, you are allowed to make the art you want to make. However, we also do live in a society. But like that post I just read, we do have things we have to adhere to. It's just how it is. Otherwise, people have access to like the most insane off the wall shit that'd be borderline illegal, right? So like, I understand. Yes, as a creative myself, as a person who enjoys art, I do agree that there should be some art that makes you uncomfortable. I'm not against that.
All from the safety of fiction. In a case like this, it
especially because of fiction.
A child, a dog, a woman, a man, a leprechaun, Cthulhu, Bugs Bunny, or the fucking Pope. It's not real, brother. I don't know how else this can be explained outside of a long set of therapies.
But then it's also weird to use the "it's not real" defense here, because your whole point is you being upset about shit that's not real, right? Like, your whole video so far has been you're complaining about changes, but these changes don't matter because it's not real. I'm always very hesitant to throw the whole, what does it matter? It's not real. Like, even though when I'll say it like, oh, it's just video games, I'm saying that in terms of like people being bigoted and wanting to send death threats to people. It's like, buddy, this is a game. It's not that serious. But I feel like he's not saying it in that context.
Sessions. We all know that there's certain limits to what can be depicted in a game, especially as to what can be acted on in a game. But these limits are quite extreme. Like, we have to be talking about the kind of crap that can even be spoken of in a video without triggering.
I think someone just subscribed to me while I was recording this. Thank you, person who subscribed while recording this.
Terms of service flag of some kind. We're talking about depraved shit for depraved reasons, and a child seizing on a bed as part of a set dressing for a gritty realism SWAT game isn't even goddamn close. Can we stop pretending like children can be depicted?
Why is he so hyper focused on that one thing when it mentioned a bunch of other shit? Like, he's still talking about this.
Or are we going to go down the rabbit hole of video games that have done this kind of thing? Are we about to shut down the entire industry of horror games? Are we about to cancel Hideo Kojima for putting a baby in a box and stressing the fuck out of it while we're delivering pizza? Or the child soldiers in Metal Gear Solid? Are we about
okay,
to
see, now what he's doing is he's being so disingenuous right here. Like, he's being so disingenuous. They just admitted, right, that Ray or Not is a realistic thing, right? So the portrayal is more realistic. People do scale things based on level of realism. Like, no one's gonna be mad there's a fucking BT in Death Stranding, but there's a bunch of sci-fi bullshit happening there, right? Just like no one's gonna give a shit about like the child soldiers represented in Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid's not represented in a way that's realistic to the point of like Ready or Not. Like, that's just not even a fair comparison. He really needs to get off this point too.
Fallout 3 are the enslaved ones at Eulogy Jones camp, or the ones that we can sell into slavery ourselves, or the baby in the Pit DLC. Do we take Nexus mods to jail for having mods?
Oh my god, bro, get over this part.
Because of how stressful it may be for some people to have the trauma of a missing child.
Jesus Christ.
I guess not for nothing, but I'll also add this just in case we get comments saying the Cyberpunk comparison is BS because a woman cannot be compared to a kid having a seizure. Fine then. I have
oh my god,
which has a toddler spazzing out, puking up black goo, and running straight at us before we blast it out of a window. There you go. Now you have another game to go make a fucking lame-ass cancel campaign against on social media while calling
Jesus Christ,
people
dude, you've been ranting about this one aspect for like 10 minutes.
For not shitting there. Of course, gore and shocking imagery aren't the only things that get impacted by this. Things get much weirder. We also had Oblivion remastered back in April, releasing with several elements changed from its original vision. Lots of them to do with undermining women and their bodies, from original designs that were unashamedly curvy, expressive, and sometimes even a little bit provocative, to now designs that are flat and antithetical to the very setting of.
Please do not tell me antithetical to the fucking setting. It's a goddamn. Do go on. Tell me why the women being flat is antithetical to the setting. Are there no flat women in the entirety of Oblivion?
The game. Basically, imagine if someone made games or movies of ancient Rome or Greece and failed to portray the focus that their sculptors and painters gave to beauty, virility, strength, and sexuality in their works of art. Instead, making bland statues that don't stand out at all for gods and heroes. This is what they did in Oblivion with random statues.
That stands out to you? This seems more like a god to me, and her leg is still out. Like, what are you mad about?
And failed to portray the focus that their sculptors and painters gave to beauty, virility.
Is that he clearly doesn't take art classes? Her leg being out there like that does have a level of sensuality, but because she's covered up in the way she's presenting herself, there is a level of divinity to this person too. Like
strength and sexuality in their works of art. Instead, making bland statues that don't stand out at all for gods and heroes. This is what they did in Oblivion with random statues and even some statues that are presenting the Daedra, among other.
And I love how he just says they did this to random statues. So you don't even care. They're random statues.
Changing clothing pieces and even doing away with the term male and female in the character creator. I know that on the surface, it doesn't look like a big deal. You can still create your character and play the game after all. The statues may not not look as good as they used to, but they still provide their quests, etc. so on so
This looks better. What?
What the fuck is
And also to say that it went against the original vision, it's the same people. It's the same company.
this piece of shit?
But sadly, with these things, it's never just one thing, it's never just one change, it's always a growing problem. And while I'm not hardline on boycotting a game, especially one where there's still so much perfectly good and fine content for people to experience and have a great adventure in, I do think that we should still keep these things in mind and speak out against them. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a video game and still saying, hey, I see what you're doing here with these changes and I don't like it. Some people get way too lost on this whole like it's either A or B and nothing else in between. But anyway, moving on. The same kind of thing is a non-stop issue in the modding world as well, where several mods for various games are being removed from Nexus because of some stupid shit that never makes any sense and that has never been an issue for decades. Decades, man, like seriously, again, I will never understand where we...
Decades? How long has Nexus mods been around for? Nexus mods been around since 2001. So I guess technically decades. Okay. Didn't know that.
We went wrong, that for decades we were all far more mature than we are now, far more mentally healthier as well, where we would see content that we don't like.
I would definitely not say that.
Want to play, and
I would definitely not say that, because one of the mods that got removed from Nexus mods were people trying to make gay people not appear in games or change the skin color of minorities. So I don't think you can really pull the we're more mature now, we are better mentally. I can't see that.
we would just not play it and that's it. Whereas now we're bending over to unhinged morons with no life at all besides trying to control what other people are allowed to think, say, or have in their goddamn fiction, or mod sites for that matter. Stellar Blade,
but it's not your mod site.
Same issue where pressure was applied trying to get the game.
Wait, he mentioned Nexus mods and then brings up no examples of any of that shit happening. You can't just say that and then bring nothing up. Microsoft cautions developers to avoid curvy females. Microsoft urges developers not to create females with exaggerated body proportions on their official site to support the game. The titled Production Inclusion Action Help Customers Feel Seen included bullets of considerations they urge developers to make when working on their product. On Twitter, a user pointed out the language expressly condemning certain female characters as reinforcing negative gender stereotypes. It's what does that say? Are you reinforcing negative gender stereotypes? Are you unnecessarily introducing gender and gender barriers into your code by design? Are you creating playable female characters that are equal in skill and ability to their male peers? Are your female characters equipped with clothing and armor that fits their task? Do they have exaggerated body proportions? When the story allows, do you show male characters who display a full range of emotions and joy, including joy, sadness, and vulnerability? But why are you just going to highlight the woman part?
Either cancelled or have its main character depiction altered to be more tame, as if the unapologetic display of an attractive woman was somehow this monstrous thing that we just can't have out in the open for whatever reason.
That's whoa.
Trying to get the game either cancelled or have morons with no life at all, damn fiction, or mod sites for
that's
that
not
game
what happened.
Or have it suffers
Okay,
from the same issue where pressure was applied trying to get the game either cancelled.
Who tried to get the game canceled? This is what they always say. They're always trying to say like people were trying to cancel Stellar Blade. No one tried to cancel it. Even what they're saying here, they're saying Eve's character design was just a blind sex doll. And that was like one person. Nobody cares about Stellar Blade's character design except for you. I mean, honestly, that's what it was like always, right? Like people were trying to say that everyone's trying to get it canceled. Like, dude, no one cares that much. Like a couple of people on the internet.
Or have its main character depiction altered to be more tame, as if the unapologetic display of an attractive woman was somehow this monstrous thing.
That's not what they said though. Like we're reading this, right? They didn't say the having an attractive woman is a monstrous display. What they're getting at here is, are you making games that negatively depict certain people, men and women? Like so he's ignoring the male part because of course they are. But they're trying to say, hey, just be more conscientious when you're making games, helping customers feel seen. And if you think that's corny or whatever, that's fine. It's probably a little bit corny. It's kind of like when Blizzard had that like diversity wheel, which actually was way worse than this. But this is not what they're saying. Like it says, it highlights, it says condemning certain female characters as reinforcing negative gender stereotypes. But it's not just female characters too. Like even the framing of this. Oh, it's from Niche Gamer. No wonder. Never mind.
That we just can't have out in the open for whatever reason. Oh, who am I kidding? Why am I even bothering to mince words here? The reason is pretty obvious. I mean, let's be real here. It's because of a continuous hatred of men. That's why the double standard exists, where male characters in the same games can be portrayed any way that the developers feel like. That's why Kratos can charge into battle with his torso completely uncovered and little more than just some cloth around his waist and boots on his feet. It's why Nathan Drake is a handsome hunk. It's why Norman Reedus can—
Wait, what the fuck? What is the point he's trying to make? Men can look however they want? Didn't that article also say, like, weren't they also addressing men too? And also, stop being fucking facetious. You know, we have different expectations for female characters versus male characters. Oh, women versus men. We always portray women as sexualized objects, but for men, we do it as a power fantasy. We're not sexualizing Kratos. We're empowering him by having his big rippling muscles. We don't always give the same courtesy to women. This is not new. Like he's trying to act like this is brand new. It's like, oh, we just hate men so much. That's why we have a bunch of game characters that are fucking men who are the leads and are masculine and handsome because we hate them so much, you see.
Trade any way that the developers feel like. That's why Kratos can charge into battle with his torso completely uncovered and little more than just some cloth around his waist and boots on his feet. It's why Nathan Drake is a handsome hunk. It's why Norman Reedus can be shirtless in Death Stranding. Hell, not even just shirtless actually. It's why he can be completely naked in the shower with close-up shots of his body. It's why Chris Hemsworth can be butt naked in the Marvel movies. It's why the same games that you had female armors altered to look covered up, such as Oblivion Remastered again, you can fully take your shirt off as a male character and run around.
Okay, but you could never fully take your shirt off in any of those games as a female character, remastered, remade, or original. You weren't able to walk around just shirtless, titties out. But that's not because we hate men. Like this doesn't make any sense. This makes no sense. This is not the examples he's bringing up. Is not we hate men. If anything, it's because we don't allow women the same opportunities to do the things we let men do. If Kratos walks around shirtless, the game can rate 18. If Eve walked around shirtless completely, that game's rated AO. Like you're stepping upon the point of sexism, but you're coming at the completely wrong way. You're saying that women have to be covered up because we hate men and not because we hate women. We don't want women to express themselves the same way that men express themselves, whether that's visually or verbally, right? Like an attitude or whatever. Like you're going the wrong way about this.
And nobody bats an eye. Nobody tries to cancel anything. Nobody tries to send in a formal letter of—
Oh, but also I will say, in Monster Hunter, when they decide to let people have whatever armor they want, a bunch of chuds got upset that men could wear skirts. So,
complaint. No game journalists come out trying to shame the players playing the game or the developers making the game or trying to get the publisher to fucking cover the character up. That's why. It's pretty goddamn obvious why. It's just that these people don't want to admit it to themselves. There's also been a lot of changes done when it comes to gender selectors in video games. The whole thing with male and female being replaced with the body type thing when they're not even doing body types at all. Like the only game in recent memory where I can pick a body type that I can think of is Dragon's Dogma 2, where you can play as a big buff guy or a short skinny guy or a fat dude or a freak with the body proportions of an eldritch.
So he's never played a fucking Souls game is what I'm hearing. He's never seen Monster Factory. Okay.
Horror. These are body types, I'll grant you that, but those other ones aren't really body types, they're just genders. They're just either male or female, but the names are changed because there's about 11 people on the planet who would take offense to that. And of those 11, neither of them would even be buying these games anyway.
My brother in Christ, you're taking offense to it right now by talking about it.
Anyway, so of course naturally we have to change it. Trust me, it makes sense. Don't ask questions, just fucking do it. This is present in all kinds of games, new ones and old ones via remasters or remakes such as the Oblivion remaster, and even Japanese stuff like Dragon Quest HD remakes. Since
bro, take a breath. You don't have to get this all in one word. Jesus Christ. Like, listen to this.
This is present in all kinds of games, new ones and old ones via remasters or remakes such as the Oblivion remaster, and even Japanese stuff like Dragon Quest HD remakes, since Square Enix demanded it so that it could be sold out here in the West. Literally. There's some
That's not. It's not true, but I've already done a video on this. I'm not going to go through this all over again, but that's not true.
people out in Japan who must think that we really are fucked up over here because we'll spaz out if we see the words male and female. And this honestly,
you understand that there are developers from Japan that were already doing body types A and B, right? Once again, Dark Souls from Software has been doing that forever now. Body type A and B. That's what they do. Like no one cares. No one cares.
isn't even something that we could fix with any rating systems. Like, there's just nothing that we can do here. This case right here just straight up requires therapy or some shit. There's really nothing going on here. And I mean,
also, how does any of this relate to like the beginning of this video?
Or, alternatively, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, so brace yourselves, because we are about to praise Dragon Age Veilguard. Alternatively, we could do what Veilguard did, which is to have 3 selections: male, female, and non-binary. At least then they wouldn't be outright excluding the male and female from the equation, because
that's what. Why do these guys bitch and moan so much about shit that you take 2 seconds to look at in the character selection screen? Like, legitimately, are you telling me, if I've said this before, but I'll say it again, if you had character or said that you can be body type 1 and body type 2, and body type 1 looked like Kratos and body type 2 looked like Eve, you wouldn't be able to be like, oh, but which one's male coded, which one's female coded? Like, you wouldn't be able to tell. You need it to say male, you need it to say female. And you're only giving Dragon Age credit because, well, at least they say male and female. Like, god damn, you're a pussy. Holy shit, you guys are such pussies when it comes to this stuff.
I'm sorry, but if you're going to be bending over backwards because of a few hypothetical snowflakes getting mad at not being included, then why
Motherfucker, you are mad at not being included.
Why the hell would you not strive to be inclusive of the rest of the goddamn planet as well, and at least keep the damn male and female in there too, so that at least it doesn't look so blatant? There's something very, very deliberate about removing that word. It's one thing to add one more option for
also,
inclusion,
I can't believe I'm saying
thing.
this, but this guy does not get to the point. He belabors the point. This could have been a 10-minute video. It could have been a 10-minute. I don't like the fact that we got rid of male and female in games because whatever. And something, this is titled, "What's the point of mature ratings in video games?" The vast majority of this video has been him complaining about character selection names, and then talking about how come you can't dismember people. And how come you can't dismember people in Jedi Fallen Survivor, a T-rated game, and him wanting to murder children or something? Like, What?
completely to remove options and replace them with something else that looks more like they're trying to re-educate me on what gender is supposed to be. Oh, a few years ago I would see something like this and I wouldn't even think this far. Of course not, it didn't really matter that much. But now, after the political hellscape that we have been living under for the past 2 years, that's specifically in regards to this, to how crazy it all got, it's no accident or small thing anymore, I'm sorry. It just is what it is. And also, if I put
That's
on
so
my
fucking stupid. It wasn't a problem, but now I think it's a problem because my politics have changed and they told me this is the problem. Like, that's what he just said.
Hat, doesn't that make most sense too? Like, if I cosplay as a non-binary fella for a second, my entire gender ideology hinges on there being more than 2 genders. So if I'm playing a goddamn game, and the game presents me with 2 genders, one that is clearly male and one that is clearly female, but it just so happens that their names have been turned into the numbers 1 and 2, or the letters A and B, then what the hell are we even doing? It's still binary. How?
What are you talking about, man? That's not what non-binary is. A non-binary person, if I change the title to body type 1 and body type 2, we're no longer adhering to the gender binary. That's the whole point. Like, someone who's non-binary still has a fucking body. Jesus Christ, man. They're not a ghost. Like, and then you said you cosplaying? Like, what?
Your ideology hinges on there being more a non-binary fella for a second.
Well, a non-binary fella is not okay, whatever.
My entire gender ideology hinges on there being more than 2 genders. So
what the fuck does that do with you cosplaying them? That doesn't make any sense. This guy, his logic is so confusing.
It's still binary. How am I
not
being
binary
represented with this garbage? Like, oh hey, there you go, buddy. We changed the name to A and B. A has a pair of balls and B has a pair of tits.
But the A, you don't see the genitals. You don't know. Unless you're playing like Cyberpunk, which in case you can remove the genitals, or put the same genitals on whatever the body type is. You do, like, what games are you playing?
Isn't it great? Do you feel represented now? I sure hope you do, buddy. Because over here at multi-billion-dollar company, we care. Oh, brother. So yeah, there you go, a positive thing about Veilguard. Don't you ever dare badmouth me on this channel saying that I'm
oh my god, guy, you're not good at this. Holy, just get to the point.
Where it's not about game ratings. It's still falling into the same theme of changes being applied to games because of narcissists being too damn loud online and weaponizing empathy to take control of more and more of our
weaponizing
and
empathy.
I hate seeing this too because it's not even that I have a problem with empathy.
You just said they weaponize it. You can't weaponize empathy.
There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's a great thing to have.
Also, I'm sorry for pausing it, but you just went on a tirade showing how much you lack empathy because you said that non-binary people are like imaginary and just like 11 and they're all snowflakes. So why would they even play this game? Like you don't have empathy.
But when you weaponize it, you take away its value. You just diminish it into something disingenuous, something that isn't real, something that is just there to be used as a
How do you weaponize empathy?
I have no doubt at all that this all started years ago from a good place. I don't think that I'm cynical or jaded enough to believe that this entire thing had rotten roots from the beginning. But whatever potential good roots there were, it's been long overtaken by a terrible corruption for power and control that has just been so bad.
Power and control?
Media has been deeply affected by this, and so has society.
What the fuck does what does Indiana Jones de-aging Harrison Ford have to do with empathy? Disney canceling Star Wars acolytes sets a dangerous precedent. Marvel broke negative box office records. However, the Marvels and the Global with 206 million. Disney Star Wars box office profits failed to cover costs of buying Lucasfilm. None of this has anything to do with what he's talking about. The Marvels came out during fucking COVID. So that might have, impacted a couple of things. Disney losing money on Harrison Ford again being de-aged. What? And this is just Disney. This isn't even taking the broader context into things. Like This is a post-COVID world. Movies don't make money they used to. Like, what are we talking about?
In general, it's not healthy at all to be able to look at a piece of art, be it a game or a movie or a book or anything else, and be unable to just enjoy it. To dive into a world of fiction, get immersed and let adventure take you away, because off the get-go, they are immediately trying to identify red flags to complain about or green flags to add to their tally and claim the piece of media as one that supports their ideological stances. Living like this sounds horrible, and I can only be thankful that I woke up and jumped out of the rabbit hole in my early 20s before it sucked me in entirely.
You just made an entire video on that topic, man. You didn't jump out of the rabbit hole. You said this one's not deep enough and made a deeper one.
So if this is continuously going on with no signs of stopping, why are we still bothering with game rating systems? Just cut them out altogether. They don't matter anymore.
Oh my God. Nothing that he said within, okay, so from minute 6, let's just say 6 minutes, from 6 minutes to 22 minutes, nothing that he said has anything to do with the maturity ratings, just so you know.
If, as an adult, I cannot play a game with adult themes because the goddamn companies publishing and making the games outright refuse to contain adult themes in their games anyway, because every game must be tailored to be open to everyone and any and all mature content or...
What are you talking about? His examples were Stellar Blade, and not even a good example with that. And then he mentioned Oblivion. That's an adult mature game. Just because it's violent doesn't make it a mature game. You can play games with heavy themes. You can play games. I don't know if I can do this one. I don't know if I can do it. There's still 10 minutes left of this. I don't know if I can do this.
Content that depicts high-stress situations or imagery must be toned down or straight up removed because it's insensitive to someone or harmful to someone else.
That's in one game, and they still have the violence and tension there. They just changed like a convulsing child to just be sleeping. What is this? What is the grand point he's making here? Because this video has been nothing but inconsistency.
Or it's way too shocking and bad, or maybe problematic to some imaginary person in some hypothetical case, then what the fuck is the point? Hell, they'll even save money on the fees that they have to pay ratings boards like the ESRB and PEGI, and you never know, but this money may come in really handy when their sales continue to plummet due to these games becoming more and more dull, repetitive, sanitized, and safe for global consumption, with their boring and interesting characters and scenarios that elicit nothing but a goddamn disappointing sigh. And please understand that I'm not drawing a line in the concrete like, unless your game is edgy, it sucks. Hell no. I'm an avid enjoyer of games in the cozy genre. Sometimes I have a shitty day and I go home and I unwind with a show.
Then what are you complaining about?
I go and I unwind with decorating a home or farming. I have no problem with game variety at all. It's simply that 15 years ago, variety actually existed. We had the harsher games, more mature, more risque, more saucy, let's say, and then we also had the other stuff. And now we're drawing harder and harder lines against certain content, such as the aforementioned grittier elements of Ready or Not, or the simple concept
of an
attractive female character.
Jesus Christ, I can't, I'm done. You won, you win. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't. This is a waste of a video. This is one of the first words I can confidently say I wasted my time watching. You're yelling at clouds, man. You're yelling at clouds. What are you doing? You're mad at shit that you're making up. Games were more risque back then. My brother in Christ, just go on Steam and put adults only. Like, the points you're making are about like one specific game, and you're asking if that's the trend for every single game. Oh no, the random statues are not the same in Oblivion. That was such a key point in the experience of the game. The statues. What? Oh, this kid's not convulsing anymore. Huh? Like it's always some version of when I was a kid, this was better. Like, okay, bro, then go back and play the game when you were a kid. Like, I don't understand these people. I really don't. They're just upset to be upset. Oh man, Stellar Blade. He didn't even mention any examples of the game being censored. He just said people didn't like it. What in this video, during the main part of this video, the heft of it, had nothing to do with his whole thing as what's the point of having maturity ratings or ratings at all? His complaints had nothing to do with the ratings of a game. He even mentioned Jedi Survivor, which is a T-rated game, and then was like, oh, well, you know, whatever. But sometimes games in the same franchise or genre are different. Like, I don't even have anything good to say about this video. There was nothing informative here. It's just a guy who kept talking, which I know ironic, but like he just kept talking about the same point for 15 minutes. And then wants you to reach this conclusion. Like, well, this is why we don't need ratings, because there's games that used to be edgier and now they're not. Am I going to give actual robust examples to highlight my point? No, here's some B-roll footage of Rise of Ronin. There you go. 0 out of 10. My God, do better. Put some effort. Next time you make a video like this, stick to the actual topic. If you want to talk about the point of mature ratings, then talk about that. Talk about what maturity is. What do you define as a mature game? What games aren't satisfying that? What mature games are no longer mature? If your problem is the ESRB is not good enough, then focus on that. But your whole video was just fucking pointless. And I think you knew that, which is why you just threw whatever background footage you could find and then just random articles from newspapers with no analysis of what's happening there, nothing deeper, just random shit. And then you spent so much time talking about Ready or Not, specifically the convulsing child, and then talked about another video you had about that, and then addressing that shit. And it's like, you're not focused. This is me saying this. You're not focused. Go back and re-edit this and try it again in like a week.